The Sigma female is the hardest woman to love, not because she is difficult, but because she does not need you. She has built a life where she is her own provider, her own protector, and her own best friend. So, when a Sigma female actually falls in love, it is a rare statistical anomaly. She doesn't choose a partner out of loneliness, she chooses him out of alignment. But how do you know if you've actually met your match? How do you distinguish between a temporary infatuation and a true equal? Here are the 8 signs a Sigma female has finally met her soulmate. 1. The silence is not empty. For the Sigma female, the world is a relentlessly noisy place, not just in terms of decibels, but in terms of energetic demand. You are a creature of deep internal processing, constantly analyzing, observing, and calculating. Because your inner world is so loud, you treasure external silence as a form of survival. However, in the realm of dating and casual relationships, silence is rarely a sanctuary. It is usually a source of anxiety. It is the awkward pause where you feel the crushing societal pressure to perform, to entertain, to ask a polite question just to prove that you are engaged. You are used to men who treat silence as a void that must be filled, men who interpret your quietness as boredom, anger, or disinterest. They poke and prod at your peace with questions like, "What's wrong?" or "Why are you so quiet?" forcing you to expend precious energy just to reassure them that you are simply existing. This is why the first and most undeniable sign that you have met your soulmate is the sudden, profound transformation of silence from a burden into a bridge. With your soulmate, the silence is not empty. It is full. It is a companionable silence that carries a weight and a texture of its own. It is the feeling of being alone together, which is the Sigma female's ultimate romantic ideal. You know you have found him when you can sit in a car for a 3-hour drive at night, with no music playing and no word spoken, and feel completely and utterly at ease. In that darkness, with only the rhythmic sound of the tires on the pavement, you do not feel the urge to turn on the radio, to drown out the awkwardness, because there is no awkwardness to drown out. You are connected on a frequency that exists below the level of language. You realize that you are not ignoring each other. You are sharing a moment of existence. His presence does not feel like an intrusion into your solitude. It feels like an extension of it. He is the only person who can enter your introvert bubble without popping it. This dynamic signals a rare form of nervous system regulation. When you are with the wrong person, your body is in a subtle state of fight or flight, constantly scanning for social cues to ensure you are being a good partner. When you are with your soulmate, your nervous system switches to rest and digest. You can read your book while he works on his laptop, and for hours the only sound is the turning of pages and the clicking of keys. In this shared space, you are liberated from the duty of entertainment. He does not need you to be his clown, his therapist, or his constant conversationalist. He is secure enough in himself to let you be. This silence is the highest form of intimacy because it implies a total absence of performative behavior. You are stripped of your social mask, resting in your rawest state, and he is right there with you, content just to witness your peace. To the Sigma female, this quiet comfort is more romantic than any grand declaration of love, because it means you have finally found a place where you can just be. 2. The social battery anomaly. As a Sigma, you are an introvert. People drain you. Even people you like drain you eventually. But your soulmate is the exception to the physics. He doesn't drain your battery, or at least he drains it much, much slower than anyone else. In fact, sometimes being around him actually recharges you. You can come home exhausted from the world, and instead of wanting to hide in your room alone, you want to hide with him. He is not people to you anymore. He has become part of your solitude. For the Sigma female, social energy is a finite, precious currency. Unlike extroverts who feed off the buzz of a crowd, you operate on a completely different biological battery. Every interaction, every small talk exchange, and every moment of feigned interest is a transaction that costs you something. You move through the world paying a social tax to exist. Even with friends you love or family you cherish, there is a ticking clock in the back of your mind. Eventually, the battery hits 10%, and the biological imperative to withdraw becomes overwhelming. You crave the solitude of your locked room like a drowning person craves air. This is your baseline reality. People are expensive. Therefore, the most scientifically baffling sign that you have met your soulmate is that he breaks this law of physics. He is the social battery anomaly. He is the one human being in existence who does not cost you anything to be around. In fact, in a twist that defies your entire history of introversion, he actually recharges you. This phenomenon is often confusing at first. You might find yourself coming home after a brutal, draining day at work, a day where you have spoken to 50 people and want nothing more than to stare at a wall in silence. In the past, this state of depletion meant you would push everyone away, including partners. You would need decompressing time before you could even tolerate a hello. But with your soulmate, something shifts. You walk through the door, see him, and instead of feeling the urge to retreat to your corner, you feel a magnetic pull to be near him. You realize that he is not categorized in your brain as people. He has been recategorized as sanctuary. His presence acts as a soothing balm to your frayed nerve endings. You can collapse onto the couch next to him, and the proximity of his body actually accelerates your recovery. This is the energy exception. It signifies that your subconscious no longer views him as a separate entity that requires performance, but as an extension of your own safe space. The true marker of this anomaly is the desire to hide together. Usually when a Sigma wants to hide from the world, she isolates completely. But when you meet your soulmate, the definition of hiding changes. You want to lock the doors and shut out the world, but you want him locked inside with you. You discover that you can spend an entire weekend with him, 48 hours of uninterrupted contact, and on Sunday night you do not feel that familiar itch to kick him out so you can breathe. You are already breathing. This is because he does not demand the social mask. He doesn't require the high-energy, entertaining version of you. He is content with the low-power mode version of you. He accepts your silence, your grumpiness, and your exhaustion without taking it personally. Finding a person who does not drain your battery is the holy grail for a Sigma female. It changes your life because it means you no longer have to choose between a relationship and your sanity. You have finally found a relationship that preserves your sanity. I want to pause here and ask you a real question. Is there a person in your life who doesn't drain your social battery, or are you still searching for that anomaly? If you know that feeling of safe silence, hit the like button right now. It helps us find more introverts who understand this dynamic. 3. The mask disappears. To the outside world, the Sigma female is a fortress of composure. You are known for your poise, your professionalism, and your unshakable stoicism. You have spent years perfecting a public avatar, a version of yourself that is efficient, guarded, and socially calibrated to navigate a world that often finds your intensity overwhelming. You wear this mask not out of deceit, but out of necessity. It is the armor that protects your soft inner world from the harshness of public scrutiny. You have learned that being fully yourself, with your dark humor, your obsessive intellectual rabbit holes, and your sudden bursts of eccentric energy, often confuses or intimidates average people. So you curate, you edit, you present the Iron Lady to the boardroom and the polite listener to the dinner party. However, the most terrifying and liberating sign that you have met your soulmate is the sudden, involuntary dissolution of this carefully constructed avatar. With him, the mask doesn't just slip, it disintegrates. This transition into radical authenticity is often shocking, even to you. For the first time, you feel a profound lack of the performance anxiety that plagues your other interactions. You realize that you are no longer running the background program that constantly monitors your behavior for social acceptability. You let him see the raw, unpolished data of your humanity. This is the version of you that exists at 2 a.m. It is the version that dances around the kitchen to 80s music in oversized pajamas, completely devoid of self-consciousness. It is the version that makes weird voices to talk to the dog, or the version that goes on a 20-minute passionate rant about a conspiracy theory or a historical event that no one else cares about. In past relationships, you might have suppressed these quirks, fearing that they would break the illusion of your perfection or make you seem too much. You feared that if he saw the goofy, messy, deeply feeling creature beneath the ice, he would lose respect for the queen. But the soulmate reacts differently. When the mask falls, he does not recoil. He leans in. He does not look at your vulnerability or your eccentricity with judgment. He looks at it with delight. He realizes that the Ice Queen persona is just the gatekeeper, and he has been granted access to the castle. He validates your weirdness. He laughs with you, not at you, when you are being silly. He listens with genuine fascination when you spiral into your niche interests. This acceptance changes the fundamental chemistry of your bond. You realize that you don't have to earn his love by being impressive, strong, or together all the time. You can be weak. You can be messy. You can be irrational. He loves the woman behind the curtain, not just the image on the stage. This creates a deep, resonant feeling of safety, the knowledge that you can finally retire the actress and just live as the human. You have found the one person with whom you never have to edit your soul, and that freedom is the purest definition of home. 4. The iron sharpens iron. Respect. You cannot fall in love with a man you do not respect, and you cannot respect a man who isn't smart. Your soulmate is your intellectual equal. He challenges your theories. He debates your logic. He teaches you things you didn't know. He is not intimidated by your intelligence. He is turned on by it. You finally feel like you have met someone who can mentally keep up with you. You aren't slowing down so he can catch up. You are running together. Intelligence is not merely a preference. It is a prerequisite for arousal. You are wired with a voracious appetite for knowledge, a mind that deconstructs systems, analyzes patterns, and questions the status quo. Consequently, the greatest tragedy of your dating history has likely been the intellectual mismatch. You have endured relationships where you felt like you were dating a project, not a partner. You found yourself constantly explaining basic concepts, simplifying your vocabulary, or holding back your true opinions to avoid bruising a fragile ego. You played the role of the teacher, the guide, or the mother, and while you may have cared for these men, you could never truly respect them. And for a Sigma, it is biologically impossible to desire a man you do not respect. The definitive sign that you have met your soulmate is the exhilaration of finally meeting your match. You have found a man who does not require you to shrink your mind to fit into his world. Instead, he expands his world to meet yours. He is your intellectual equal, the iron that sharpens your own. This dynamic manifests in the way you communicate. With a soulmate, conversation is not just an exchange of information. It is a form of mental sparring. You know he is the one when you can engage in a heated, passionate debate about politics, philosophy, or the future of technology, and he does not take it personally. He pushes back. He challenges your premises. He points out the flaws in your logic. For the first time, you are not winning every argument by default, and this thrill is intoxicating. You are not fighting, you are dancing. He is not intimidated by your sharpness, he is turned on by it. He looks at your intellect not as a threat to his masculinity, but as a testament to his own taste. He wants a woman who can think, and he is secure enough to handle the truth when you deliver it. This erases the boredom that plagued your past relationships. You are no longer the smartest person in the room, and that relief is palpable. You can finally take your foot off the mental brake and run at full speed, knowing he is right there beside you, matching your pace stride for stride. Furthermore, this intellectual equality creates a relationship based on growth rather than stagnation. A soulmate for the Sigma female is a man who teaches her things she didn't know. He brings new data to the table. He introduces you to perspectives that force you to reevaluate your worldview. This is the only way to keep a Sigma interested long-term. You need to be stimulated. You need to be curious. When you look at him, you see a vast, unexplored library of experiences and wisdom that you want to read for the rest of your life. The connection transcends the physical. It becomes a meeting of the minds. You realize that you are building a partnership where you make each other sharper, wiser, and more capable. You have moved from a dynamic of managing a partner to a dynamic of collaborating with a peer, and for the high-functioning Sigma woman, this mental synergy is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Let me know in the comments, what is the one thing you cannot tolerate in a relationship? Is it incompetence? Is it clinginess? Or is it a lack of intelligence? Drop your deal breaker in the comments below. Let's see what the standard is. 5. The alone together dynamic. In developmental psychology, there is a concept known as parallel play, usually observed in toddlers who play side by side but do not try to influence one another's behavior. For the adult Sigma female, this concept is not a developmental phase. It is the ultimate love language. It is the holy grail of domestic intimacy. The fifth sign that you have met your soulmate is the seamless establishment of the alone together dynamic, a state of being where you can share a physical space without sharing a mental focus. In your past relationships, you likely struggled with partners who equated love with constant interaction. To them, if you were in the room, you were available. If you were reading a book, they felt the need to interrupt you with a random thought. If you were working on a project, they felt neglected because your eyes weren't on them. This constant demand for attention is the kryptonite of the Sigma female, who requires deep, uninterrupted flow states to feel alive. The soulmate, however, rewrites this script entirely because he possesses a rich, compelling inner world of his own. The alone together dynamic signifies that you have found a partner who is just as self-contained as you are. He does not rely on you to be the director of entertainment for his evening. When you say, "I'm going to go write for 3 hours," he doesn't sigh or look dejected. He simply says, "Great, I'm going to work on the car," or "I'm going to game." He respects the sanctity of your focus. This is a profound shift from the anxious attachment style that plagues so many modern relationships. With a soulmate, you exist like two planets in a stable orbit, close enough to feel the gravitational pull of each other's presence, but far enough apart that you do not crash into each other's atmosphere. You can be lying on the bed researching a new business idea while he is at his desk sketching a design, and for hours, the only interaction might be a foot touching a foot, or a quick glance to check in. That subtle, non-verbal tether is enough. It communicates, "I am here, I love you, but I am also busy being me." This dynamic is crucial because it eliminates the guilt that usually shadows the Sigma female's need for isolation. You no longer feel guilty for ignoring him because you know he isn't sitting there waiting to be noticed. He has his own mission, he has his own hobbies, he has a sense of purpose that exists independent of the relationship. This autonomy is what makes him so attractive to you. You are not the center of his universe in a way that is suffocating. You are the anchor of his universe, which is a far healthier position. The alone together dynamic proves that he loves you for your independence, not in spite of it. He understands that you need to disconnect from the we to recharge the I, and he is secure enough to let you drift into your own world, knowing with absolute certainty that you will always come back. This parallel solitude is not distance. It is the highest form of respect for your individual sovereignty. 6. Vulnerability. Without fear. Vulnerability is not cute. It is terrifying. It is a violation of your primary directive, self-preservation. You have likely spent your entire life constructing a high-security perimeter around your heart. You view crying as a leakage of dignity and admitting fear as a tactical error that gives others leverage over you. In your past experiences, opening up was often followed by immediate regret. You shared a weakness, and it was either dismissed, misunderstood, or worst of all, weaponized against you in a later argument. Consequently, you learned to process your pain in solitary confinement. You lick your wounds in the dark, and by the time you emerge, You present a resolved, stoic face to the world. You do not ask for help. You handle it. Therefore, the sixth and most profound sign that you have met your soulmate is a terrifying malfunction of this security system. You find yourself breaking down in front of him, and for the first time in your life, you do not feel the impulse to run away afterwards. You have found the vault. This shift usually happens unexpectedly. A crisis hits, or the stress becomes too much, and instead of retreating to your cave, you turn to him. You share the story of your childhood trauma, your deepest professional insecurity, or the irrational fear that keeps you awake at 2 a.m. The marker of the soulmate is found entirely in his reaction to this exposure. He does not panic. He does not look at you with pity, which you despise. He does not immediately try to fix your feelings with unsolicited advice, or dismiss them with toxic positivity like, "Just look on the bright side." Instead, he holds the container. He sits with you in the darkness of the emotion without needing to turn on the lights. He becomes a solid, unshakable presence that absorbs the shockwave of your pain without cracking. He listens with an intensity that tells you he isn't just waiting for his turn to speak. He is downloading the data of your soul to understand how to protect you better. The true test of the vault, however, comes long after the tears have dried. It is the realization that your secrets are safe. In toxic dynamics, a partner stores your vulnerabilities like ammunition, waiting for a fight to shout, "This is exactly why your father left you," or "You're just being crazy like you always are." The soulmate never breaks the seal of the confessional. He treats your vulnerability with the reverence of a state secret. 6 months later, when you are arguing about something unrelated, he does not reach for the low blow. He fights fair. He proves that the information you gave him is locked away, accessible only for the purpose of understanding you, never for hurting you. This creates a psychological safety that rewires your brain. You realize that showing him your belly does not result in a predator's attack. It results in a protector's embrace. This lack of a vulnerability hangover, that sick feeling of regret after oversharing, is the ultimate proof that you are no longer surviving alone. You are finally safe. 7. No ownership. The biggest fear of a Sigma female is losing her freedom. Your soulmate understands that you are a wild creature. He never tries to put you in a cage. He doesn't check your phone. He doesn't demand to know where you are every second. He trusts you implicitly. He loves you for your independence, not in spite of it. You feel more free with him than you did when you were single, because now you have a base camp to return to. For the Sigma female, the ultimate currency of life is not love, it is freedom. The deepest, most primal fear you harbor regarding relationships is not heartbreak, but entrapment. You are a wild creature by nature, accustomed to moving through the world on your own terms, answering to no one, and following the beat of your own internal rhythm. In the past, you have likely ended relationships not because you stopped loving the person, but because you started to feel the invisible walls closing in. You felt the subtle tightening of the leash, the jealous questions, the demands for constant updates, the passive-aggressive guilt trips when you wanted to travel alone. To you, ownership feels like a slow spiritual death. Therefore, the seventh and most critical sign that you have met your soulmate is the total absence of possessiveness. He does not try to own you. He simply chooses to walk beside you. This is the Freedom Pact, an unspoken agreement that your autonomy is not a threat to the bond, but the very foundation of it. This dynamic manifests in the open-door policy of his love. Your soulmate is a man who is secure enough in his own value that he does not need to police your movements to feel safe. He does not check your phone when you leave the room. He does not demand to know who you are texting. When you say, "I'm going out with friends tonight," he doesn't interrogate you about the guest list, the location, or the timeline. He simply says, "Have a great time," and returns to his own life. This lack of surveillance is often shocking at first. You might even mistake it for indifference because you are so conditioned to equating jealousy with care. But you soon realize it is the highest form of respect. He trusts you implicitly. He knows that a Sigma female cannot be controlled, and he has no desire to try. He understands that you are with him by choice, not by captivity. He isn't holding on to you tightly because he knows that the tighter he grasps, the more likely you are to slip away. The beautiful paradox of the Freedom Pact is that it actually makes you want to stay. In previous relationships, the more a partner tried to cage you, the more you plotted your escape. But with your soulmate, the cage door is wide open. You can fly away at any moment. And because you have the absolute freedom to leave, you find yourself choosing over and over again to stay. You feel more free with him than you did when you were single. When you were single, you had freedom, but you had no base. With him, you have base camp freedom. You can go out into the world, conquer your goals, take risks, and travel, knowing that you have a safe harbor to return to, a harbor that celebrates your adventures rather than resenting them. He loves the wolf in you, not the domesticated dog. He doesn't want a partner who sits at his feet. He wants the partner who runs with him. This realization that you don't have to amputate parts of your spirit to fit into the relationship is the moment you know you have found the one. You are not his property, you are his partner, and in that distinction lies your forever. If you have a friend who is terrified of losing her freedom in a relationship, share this video with her. She needs to know that the right person won't cage her. He will fly with her. Click share, copy the link, and send it to your circle. The final and most definitive sign that a Sigma female has met her soulmate is the shift from romance to architecture. By nature, you are a visionary. You do not simply drift through life waiting for things to happen to you. You plan, you strategize, and you execute. You have a clear, often private blueprint for the kind of life you intend to build, whether that involves financial independence, creative freedom, travel, or a specific type of impact on the world. In your past relationships, the friction often arose from a vision mismatch. You were dating men who were content with mediocrity, men who lived only for the weekend, or men whose 5-year plan was non-existent. You found yourself in the exhausting position of being the locomotive of the relationship, dragging a passive partner toward a future they couldn't even visualize. The soulmate changes this entirely because he does not need to be dragged. He is already running on a parallel track, fueled by the same ambition and guided by the same North Star. With him, you are not just lovers, you are empire builders. This alignment goes far beyond sharing common interests like hiking or movies. It is a deep operational compatibility. It means your core values regarding money, family, legacy, and lifestyle are in perfect sync. When you talk about the future with your soulmate, you are not negotiating a compromise. You are co-authoring a manifesto. You realize that he is not just a companion for your leisure time. He is a strategic partner for your life's mission. He understands that for a Sigma, love is not just about staring into each other's eyes. It is about looking outward together in the same direction. You feel a sudden surge of power, a realization that two are better than one, not just for comfort, but for capability. You see him and think, with him, I can do more. With him, I can go further. The relationship ceases to be a distraction from your goals and becomes the very vehicle that accelerates them. This dynamic creates the feeling of being a power couple, regardless of your bank account balance. It is an internal state of being. You approach life as a unified team, a two-person army facing the world. When problems arise, you do not turn on each other. You turn to the whiteboard. You strategize. You solve. You have found someone who views the relationship as a third entity, a project that you are both invested in growing, optimizing, and protecting. This shared vision eliminates the petty squabbles that destroy lesser relationships. You don't have time to argue about who washed the dishes because you are too busy planning the next acquisition, the next trip, or the next chapter of your legacy. You have met your soulmate when the conversation shifts from, "What are we doing tonight?" to, "What are we building for forever?" He is the co-architect you have been waiting for, the man who hands you a brick when you are ready to build. And for the Sigma female, that productive, forward-moving love is the only kind that will ever truly satisfy her soul. Finding a soulmate as a Sigma female is not merely a romantic pursuit, it is an excavation. You have likely spent years walking through a desert of incompatibility, sifting through mountains of coal in a desperate search for a single diamond. The journey has been lonely, and at times deeply discouraging. You have watched friends settle for good enough, marrying men who act as anchors rather than sails, simply to escape the stigma of solitude. You have likely been told by well-meaning family members that you are too picky, too intimidating, or too independent to ever find love. There were dark nights where you questioned if they were right, if perhaps your standards were actually walls that needed to be torn down. But the arrival of this man, the one who respects your silence as much as your voice, the one who challenges your mind without threatening your ego, and the one who honors your freedom as a sacred right, is not just a happy ending. It is a vindication. It is the universe finally handing you the receipt for the price you paid in loneliness. He is the tangible, breathing proof that you were right to wait. You were right to refuse the bare minimum. You were right to protect your peace until you found someone who could add to it rather than subtract from it. When you finally find him, hold on to him with the quiet intensity that defines you. He is the unicorn you were told didn't exist, a man who is strong enough to handle a powerful woman without needing to dominate her, and secure enough to let her shine without needing to dim her light. He represents the equal. This is a concept that transcends traditional romance. He is not your savior, for you never needed saving. He is your counterpart. When you look at him, you see the reflection of your own strength. The relationship you build with him will not look like the codependent, suffocating romances you see in movies. It will look like two wolves running side by side, autonomous, fierce, and entirely voluntary. You are walking into the foggy landscape of the future, not as a damsel clinging to a hero, but as a sovereign queen walking beside a king. You are powerful alone, but together you are a force of nature. This love is the reward for every lonely Saturday night you spent working on your dreams instead of wasting time on the wrong person. It is the proof that your high standards were not a barrier to love. They were the filter that ensured only the worthy could pass. If you are done settling for less than you deserve, and you are ready to embrace the power of waiting for your equal, leave a diamond in the comments to claim your standard. And if you want to continue exploring the psychology of the high-value woman, make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell on. We don't just talk about relationships here. We master the art of the self. Welcome to the top 1%. Join the pack now.